Before we even begin, I want you to do something right now. If you're the kind of person who appreciates history, rare treasures, and the thrill of discovering something valuable hidden in plain sight, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because today, what I'm about to show you might completely change the way you look at the coins sitting in your drawer. Now imagine this. You're holding an old coin. It feels ordinary, maybe a little worn, maybe slightly faded. You've probably seen dozens like it before. But what if I told you that one specific coin from 1989, a South African 2 rand, has captured the attention of collectors across the world? Not because it shines the brightest, not because it's made of gold, but because of something far more powerful: rarity, history, and a story that most people have no idea about. The year 1989 was not just another year. It was a time of change, tension, and transformation in South Africa. Coins minted during this period carry more than just monetary value. They carry the weight of a nation's story. And among these coins, the 2 rand stands out in a way that few people truly understand. At first glance, the coin looks simple: a strong design, a familiar emblem, a solid structure. But seasoned collectors don't look at coins the way ordinary people do. They look deeper. They notice small variations, tiny differences in minting, alignment, texture, and even microscopic imperfections. And it's within these details that the real value begins to emerge. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not every 1989 2 rand coin is valuable. In fact, most of them are still worth only a small amount. But there are specific versions, extremely rare variations, that have turned this ordinary-looking coin into something extraordinary. Some of these rare coins were produced in limited batches. Others may have minting errors that were never meant to leave the factory. And a very few, are believed to have characteristics so unique that they've become almost impossible to find today. Think about that for a moment. A coin that millions of people once used without a second thought, now being hunted by collectors who are willing to pay unimaginable amounts just to own it. And this is not just about money. For many collectors, especially those who have spent decades building their collections, coins like this represent achievement, pride, legacy. It's not just a purchase, it's a victory. Now let's talk about what makes this coin so captivating for older collectors, especially men who have spent years appreciating craftsmanship, history, and value. This isn't about quick trends or flashy investments. This is about patience, knowledge, experience. Men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond understand something that younger generations often overlook. True value is not always obvious. It doesn't scream for attention. It sits quietly, waiting for the right person to recognize it. And that's exactly what this coin does. There's a certain satisfaction in holding something that others have ignored, in knowing that while the world rushed past it, you saw what others didn't, that you understood its worth before anyone else did. Now imagine sitting with your collection, going through your coins one by one, and suddenly, you notice something different. The weight feels slightly off. The engraving looks sharper, or maybe softer. The spacing between letters isn't quite right. Your heart starts to beat a little faster. Could it be? This is the moment every collector lives for. The moment of discovery. The moment when an ordinary day turns into something unforgettable. But here's the truth. Finding one of these rare coins is not easy. It requires attention, knowledge, and sometimes a bit of luck. But that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it worth it. Because when you finally do find something special, it's not just about the value. It's about the journey, the years of searching, the countless coins you've examined, the stories you've learned along the way. And let's not forget something very important. Coins like this don't just attract collectors. They attract serious buyers. People who are willing to go to great lengths to secure a rare piece. Auctions, private deals, international interest. This is a world where one small object can create massive attention. Now think about the possibilities. What if that coin sitting in your drawer right now, the one you've never really paid attention to, what if it's one of those rare pieces? What if something so small could hold such incredible potential? This is why collectors never stop looking, never stop learning, never stop checking, because the next great discovery could be anywhere. It could be in an old box, a forgotten collection, a coin passed down through generations, or even something you received as change years ago and never thought twice about. And that's the beauty of it. The idea that value can exist quietly, waiting to be recognized. So here's what you should do. Take a closer look at your coins. Don't rush. Don't assume. Examine them carefully. Pay attention to the details. Because sometimes the smallest difference can mean everything. And remember, this isn't just about money. It's about history. It's about connection. It's about holding a piece of time in your hands and understanding its journey. Now, as we come to the end of this, I want you to think about something very carefully. The 1989 South Africa 2 Rand coin, in its rarest and most extraordinary form, has been valued at an astonishing $42 million. Before we dive into an incredible story, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. A small coin, seemingly ordinary, yet carrying a story so powerful it could change the way you look at the past and maybe even your future. Today, we're talking about a coin that is over 60 years old. 1 cent, 1962, from South Africa. At first glance, it might look like any other coin. You might even pass it by without a second thought. But this tiny piece of copper holds a value that most people could only dream about. To understand why this coin is so special, we have to go back in time. South Africa in the early 1960s was a place of incredible change and tension. The world was shifting politically, economically, socially, and even small coins carried more than just monetary value. They were symbols of the country's identity, its economy, and sometimes even its secrets. The 1 cent 1962 coin wasn't just a piece of currency. It was a witness to history. It's remarkable how such a small object can tell us so much about a moment in time. Unlike coins produced in large quantities today, coins from that era had a story embedded in every detail. The design, the metal composition, and even the tiniest mint marks tell collectors and historians exactly where it came from, how it was made, and sometimes why it's rare. Now, let's talk rarity. Not all coins from the 1960s are valuable, but certain characteristics can make a huge difference. For example, a slight error in the minting process, something that might seem like a flaw, can turn a common coin into a highly sought-after treasure. These imperfections are what make collectors' hearts race. They look for things that are almost impossible to find, like a needle in a haystack, and when they find it, it's worth far more than any ordinary coin. The 1 cent 1962 coin is one of those treasures. Even though millions were produced, only a handful remain in perfect condition today. And condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. A coin may be decades old, but if it has scratches, dents, or discoloration, its value drops dramatically. Conversely, a coin that has been preserved perfectly, untouched by time, can fetch astonishing sums. Collectors around the world would give anything to get their hands on a coin like this. Why? Because it's not just a coin, it's a link to a world that no longer exists. Holding it is like holding a piece of living history. It's tangible proof of the past, a reminder of